Okay, we're going to get started now. I'd like to welcome everyone to DartConnect's Zoom meeting series. My name is Greg Tong. I'm your host for today and one of the leading experts on the DartConnect platform, if I do say so myself. Joining me today is also company founder David Maher, who he knows a few things as well. Our goal with these meetings, again, is to help both new and returning leagues learn more about how to leverage the many available tools that DartConnect makes available to both make admins' lives easier and also give your players the best experience possible. DartConnect's biggest lesson doing the work we do is that while we're all Dart leagues, everyone has different needs and requirements. And because of this, DartConnect will continue to add innovative features and functions to support the many different ways darts is played around the world. And we're going to take a look today at how we do that with our scheduling tool. Just a quick reminder, if you want to ask a question, you can ask questions at any time. Just make sure you raise your hand by clicking react at the bottom of the Zoom screen, and we'll call you by name. And just remember to bring yourself off of mute when you hear your name called. And then lastly, again, just a reminder that yes, everyone will get a copy of today's slide presentation and recording link, same as we did last week. This is the second session of our three-part series. The scheduler by itself is an incredible standalone tool that solves a huge number of league issues and will make your life significantly easier. But we found that, when you integrate all three of these tools, it becomes an incredibly powerful combination. And last week we talked about the advanced match builder, today the season scheduler, and next week we'll be talking about the express player lineup, a very new feature that's coming. Before we get too far into it, just a quick note, make sure we're all speaking the same language. We'll be using the word schedule during this presentation, but many parts of the world understand this from the British word, which is fixtures, which is basically an event that takes place on a particular date. If anyone has different words that they use where you're from for the same kind of thing, please, you can raise your hand and let us know, what that is as well. But just so you know, we'll be talking about this in the context of scheduling. All right, I probably don't need to tell you guys a lot about why scheduling is so painful. One thing that is the same for all leagues is creating the match schedule is the most difficult part of launching a new season. Not only do you have very little time to create one, it's too easy to make small mistakes that can have bad consequences that force you to make adjustments or, God forbid, start the whole process over again. The key for everyone is to make your schedule as perfect as possible before you give it out to teams and players. And this schedule is really the key to having a smooth start to the season. Having a schedule with errors or mistakes can cause a lot of confusion on that week one. Every league manager has probably experienced this at least once. What happens if 4 teams show up at the same venue and there's only one dartboard? You do not want that phone call on league night. A lot of leagues, especially in North America, are traveling leagues. They have multiple teams, divisions, and venues. Travel leagues are probably the hardest to schedule. And the more teams you have, the more complicated it gets. But even if you make the most perfect schedule with 0 mistakes, all it takes is a team to drop out or a team that needs to be added or a venue to unexpectedly close, and it makes your perfect schedule go in the trash bin. So change management is also equally important to just creating the schedule at all. And we'll take a look at how DartConnect helps you manage those things. For non-travel leagues that may be singles leagues or in-house leagues, they have some special needs and requirements. And we've added many additional features and options to make that type of scheduling as easy as possible as well. Including the ability to assign specific boards, split a day up into early and late sessions, allowing leagues to play more than one match on league night. How you want to schedule your league is entirely up to you, but we give you the power to create what you need. So we've talked so far about the common difficulties that make this the most challenging task, but now let's talk a bit about how DartConnect can make this easier and also improve the league experience for teams, players, and especially the captains. Very few leagues tell us that they look forward to the scheduling process every season, unless you're a glutton for punishment, I guess. But anyone who's gone through this exercise can relate. It is painful. In my experience, when your office is overrun with scraps of paper, team application forms, area maps, sponsor lists, you name it. It's so easy to make one simple change that can affect multiple divisions. Another problem is, doing all of that, often you lack the confidence. You have all this material all over the place, and you lack the confidence that you're able to keep it all on track. So you're constantly looking it over again and redoing things and double checking and making sure you're not missing something. Some of you may have some experiences that you may want to share. I encourage you to raise your hand either now or at the Q&A period to let us know how this relates to what you've done and the pains that you've felt with scheduling. And also, if you have experience with the DartConnect scheduling, how that has helped your league as well. So how does DartConnect solve these issues? Let's take a closer look. Today, we're going to talk about how the scheduling tool works, soup to nuts. This tool is so powerful. Even if you've been using it for multiple seasons already, chances are you're going to learn something today about a very useful option or tool that you maybe had no idea was available. We'll be covering both existing and new features that demonstrate the ease of use of the system and also the tremendous flexibility to make your schedule be exactly what you need. So, basically, DartConnect is what we do with everything. We continue to innovate by converting the analog paper world to the digital and internet-powered world. Even if your league is modest sized, the scheduling tool, it still makes it very easy to generate, but also makes it easier for players and teams and for the league administration. While it's a very simple concept to make an electronic schedule, because we integrate it across the DartConnect platform, you'll feel the benefits and see them firsthand in the scoring app, on DartConnect TV, and fewer mistakes in the match reporting. It has broad implications and lots of benefits. It's not just about making the work of scheduling easier. It's about how that work can improve multiple aspects of the league play, making everyone's life better. All right, let's cut to the chase a little bit. The bottom line is to get everyone to the match on time. So let's make it as easy as possible. We should not be giving something that players and captains and teams need to interpret in order to figure out where they're going to play. Let's just tell them where they need to go on match night. Why do we have to, go through all these machinations and make it cryptic for them? Let's make it as easy as possible. We do this in the scoring app. It ultimately ends up there. And the scoring app is a key part of making match management easier. I mean, the schedule drives all of this helpful information into the app. And now teams don't have to select the team they're playing manually. They instead just pick the exact match on the exact date that they're supposed to play. And of course, we try also to take this even further. Okay. So being the team captain or manager, it's never easy, especially when you have to herd the cats on league night. On my team, we have a guy who sends the same text message to the group every week. Where are we playing? Then the captain replies back with the name of the venue, right? And then the player sends back another text that says, what's the address? And the captain then sends him a text that says, it's the same place we were 2 weeks ago. Honest to God. I mean, with the schedule available that we make on DCTV, players can help themselves to this information. And not only that, now the team group text can be filled with trash talk and funny memes instead of links to driving directions. All right, now let's take this even one step further. Okay, what can a DartConnect member do? Okay, one piece of feedback we received from the league was that new and younger players were thrilled about the ability to integrate the schedule with their electronic calendar. For us older players who never grew up with these things, it's not as big of a deal to us. We never had them. But if you want to attract the Luke Littlers of the world, modernization and technology is something they do expect in the activities that they participate in. And more, they often require it. So if you have this type of features to your league, it is naturally going to attract more newer, younger players. Having a DC membership, even a free guest account, unlocks a lot of player benefits, especially with regard to the schedule. And by employing a lot of these things, players really have, no longer have any excuses for not knowing where they're supposed to report for match night. We're sure they'll come up with some anyways, but we try to make it as hard as possible for them not to know where they're going to play. Okay, time is money. So a lot of what we do to help leagues, not just with the scheduling, with everything we do, is to take your work down to the absolute minimum, but pump up the benefits of what you do. What if all the effort and time you spend working out your schedule was given back to you? Not to mention taking away the stress involved with making sure the season gets started off on the right foot. After you use our schedule tool, you may feel emancipated, right? I can't believe we did it the other way. I have all the time, and it's so much better. Okay. And now, DartConnect, we specialize in dart leagues. We've been asked to do other sports like snooker or rugby or other things as well, but we're focused on darts. Remember when we said no two leagues are the same and everyone's needs are drastically different. Whether you're a extra large travel league or you're a small in-house singles league, we've carefully designed our system to provide tools and options that just make sense specifically for how dart leagues operate. I bet many other sports would be jealous of what we've created, but like I said, we're focused on darts. Specifically for travel leagues, for all leagues, this is important, right? Where do you play? But we created a special tool to help manage your playing locations. So one of the first steps to creating your schedule is to build your venue list. This tool is integrated with Google Maps to find every venue, and this is how we generate links to driving directions. You'll also add information about how many boards are available. Is there parking? Does the place have food? Other helpful pieces of information. And this information that you put into building your venue list is the magic that will help you identify and manage conflicts and a venue's capacity, all for scheduling purposes. So it's not just building a nice list of who your sponsors are and where you go, it's also helping you create the schedule. So building the venue list is a necessary first step before you can create the schedule. But as you'll find out if you use it, the tool to find and create your list is very fast and very easy to use. Okay, so all of these benefits we're talking about sound great, right? Fantastic. So how do we do it? What's the actual process look like in the league board? The scheduling tool, once you get started up, it'll walk you through everything. The first step, of course, is to define the schedule by creating some global settings, such as, the basics. How often does the league play? What kind of league are you? And as you continue, you'll start to define settings that apply to all divisions, such as a common start time. How many times each opponent plays each other in their group. And you can have multiple schedules in your league. For example, if one division plays on a different night of the week or has a different start date, you can give them a different schedule. Once you have everything defined, creating the schedule itself is dead simple, just a single click. And as we all know from experience, creating the schedule is just the start. That's not where you stop, but it is where you can get benefits immediately once you get that done and generated quickly. If you get a perfect schedule on the first time out, you're very lucky. But for many, almost everybody, you're still going to need to make adjustments even after you create your schedule. In the old ways of doing scheduling, that's where things start to break down, is these changes. Making changes to everything you just set up and hoping nothing else breaks. Everything's integrated together, but you make one little change, you have to make sure that it does not affect the rest of your schedule. So DartConnect is very much focused on making that part as easy as possible as well. After you generate your schedule, perhaps the most powerful aspect of DartConnect scheduling tool is the audit reports. We have many different reports, and these help keep everything centralized and right in front of you. And when you make a change, you'll be able to immediately see the effect of any changes and see what it did to your schedule. So let's take a look at a few examples of what I'm talking about. This is the home away balance report. A very common complaint of scheduling in dart leagues is too many home or away matches in a row. It's also important to keep your sponsors happy, right? By making sure that they get equal time with teams to get their return on investment back. So we provide tools like this, right? Very quickly you can see if a team needs to reschedule a match or be configured a little differently to balance out that home and away. Another aspect of this is getting the math right for not overbooking a venue. It can be very tricky, especially with multiple teams and multiple divisions. I mean, it can turn into a real nightmare. DartConnect can quickly show you this without you having to refer to multiple pieces of paper or updating a spreadsheet. Plus, it'll automatically update after you make adjustments to the schedule. So this is how we're trying to help people work smarter, not harder, and get the best end result you possibly can. So we realize that, there's always going to be some situation in a league where maybe our scheduling tool doesn't fit. So we have a manual build option that will help you create a schedule. You just build it, match by match, round by round. And this is for if, let's say, your schedule can't be generated by us automatically. You have some aspect to your schedule where you don't do a normal round robin schedule of play. You may have some unbalanced schedule of play. We do have leagues that do need these kinds of things. Or let's say you have a preferred method of generating your schedule. There's often in many leagues a schedule guru who knows how to work the magic of a spreadsheet, understands the league constraints and requirements, and always puts together a really great schedule. Let's say you want to still use that schedule. You can recreate that into DartConnect. And if you do that, then that makes sure that your league can still get all of the same benefits as if we generated it for you. And that means things like, electronic scheduling in the scoring app, player notifications, and all the things we talked about earlier of what our electronic scheduling provides. So with this tool, there really are no barriers to using DartConnect scheduling and getting all the benefits. We can handle just about anything. All right. As you're creating schedules, often you want to go through what if scenarios. What if I did this with a division? What if I changed the divisions this way? So if you want to experiment with creating schedules, our system makes that easy as well. You can try all kinds of things. You're free to create all kinds of schedules, and nothing becomes real until you decide that you want to make it public. When you do want to go public, then you don't have to wait for the captain's meeting for people to know that you have a schedule. We have built-in tools for you to send an email to players, to captains, and we also have a lot of special ways for you to communicate additional things about your schedule to the players and the teams. As I mentioned before, right, creating the schedule is not the end point of scheduling. Things happen all the time that you have to deal with and make changes to your schedule, even as far as the day before the match, the first night starts of the league, right? Schedules are rarely stable, and even something could happen mid-season that's completely unplanned. So DartConnect lets you make all kinds of changes. You don't have to jump through all kinds of hoops to make them happen. You just make a change, whatever you need, replace a team, switch out a bye, add a team, and everything updates automatically. One big question, a very common question people have is, I had a team drop out or a player drop out of a singles league, and now I need to make all of their matches not count. I don't want their points in the division standings. So when you use our scheduling, all you do is replace the team out. Automatically, all of those results get removed and the division standings updated to reflect that. You don't have to go and update lots of different places. You just make the one change to the schedule, all that happens for you. What other kinds of changes can happen? Now, it's not just teams and players that can change. Sometimes you need to reschedule as much as an entire round for many different reasons. Like you want to move an entire round, like the second week down to the last week for whatever reason. That week had to get canceled. You need to play it at the end of the season instead, or something else. And by doing this, like I said, it's basically a drag and drop almost process. You just pick up a round, stick it later in the schedule, and then everything updates automatically. You can even insert skip dates and special event memos. So how is this used? There are many factors that can affect your schedule, some planned and some unplanned, like I said. Now with DartConnect, you can easily add things like a skip date. So let's say 1 week the matches get canceled for a hurricane or a snowstorm. You insert a skip week and it'll automatically push all the matches down a week, right? So you put the skip week in for the one you missed, and this. Now let's say you have something like a captain's meeting or a league banquet or a singles tournament that you want your players to know about. We also have a way for you to insert right into the schedule a little notification for that week that says what's happening. You can, like I said, I have the league singles tournament on week 3. You insert that and it prints it right on the schedule. We even have a way for you to publish special announcements right on the publish schedule. Let's say you had a rule change, or you want to tell people the playoff brackets are going to be published a week late, or something that you need to communicate. You can put a public note right on the schedule so that everyone can see it. Right. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the newer things that we've added once we learned more about, the needs of different leagues that started to use our scheduling system. So we can accommodate, many different unplanned issues. So you can insert a new match, you can insert a new round, like you started with 7 rounds, but for some reason you need an extra round of play. Or you want to layer in interdivision play in your schedule and have teams play different divisions on some odd week during the season. You can do that here by just inserting it and creating a new round or inserting a match. And so I would like to see someone try doing this with a paper schedule and see how easy that is. But for us, it's just stick it in, it's there, forget about it. Another new feature is you can edit an individual match detail. There's a lot of reasons why you might need to do this. One team has a problem and they need to play on Thursday instead of Tuesday. You go into that match, you just change the date. A team may change the night they play for their entire season. They lost their sponsor venue, and now they can't play on Tuesdays and have to play on Wednesdays. You can go into the schedule and just change their matches, and that way everyone will look at the schedule and know that that team plays on Wednesdays. One extra thing here I'll point out that some people need occasionally, but not very aware of. You can change who's home and who's away in any individual match. Got a little button here, a little yellow button on the match editing, and you just click that button and boom, you got home away switched. So again, tremendous flexibility for making any kind of change you made to make during the season. Okay, another new one for that we put in recently. We know at DartConnect that something can go wrong at some point. Anything can go wrong. We always try to implement a manual bypass to ensure that a match can be played, and the details can be addressed after the fact. So even if there's a match missing from the schedule, or it's a new match, a venue may not have Wi-Fi and didn't get an updated match list in the scoring app. You're not stuck. We have a way for you to just click create unscheduled match. You'll get a list of teams. You create that match on the fly, and then you can still play. All right, we're nearing the end of our presentation. Remember, if you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll call on you and bring you into the call. Another important requirement for using the A and B is you have to be using the season schedule. We did mention this at last week's A and B meeting. So the A and B won't work without the schedule. A majority of DartConnect leagues already use the scheduling, but you may not have started with the advanced match builder yet. And if you're one of the few leagues that are not using the scheduling tool, make sure you attend this meeting. Make sure you take a look at it and call us if you need help implementing that. And when you hear more about what we got coming down the line as well with the Express Player Line, you may be even more interested in the scheduling and want to use all of our advanced options. So if you are and you're not sure how, just contact our league services team and we'll help you figure out how to get that benefit for your league. One final note, in case you missed last week's meeting, we do have a recording available. If you registered recently, you got a link to this. And if you did attend last week's meeting, you got a link to this as well as a copy of the slide presentations, and we'll be doing the same for this week's meeting as well. Just a quick note, next week's meeting, again, also on Wednesday at the same time, we'll be talking about the Express Player Lineup, which is our brand new feature that we have for this year. And we talked about this a lot last week, and something like this is going to make the scheduling tool and the advanced mesh builder even more powerful. We think that with the addition of these 3 tools that, this is a real game changer for how leagues can operate. So again, don't miss our session next week, where we'll be talking about the Express player lineup. All right, that's the end of the formal presentation. It's Q&A time, and this is where we stop talking and we listen to you. Just a reminder, to ask a question, just raise your hand and we'll call you by name, and then you can take yourself off of mute. So I think our first question is from Robert Swanson. Robert, where are you calling from?
Hey, Greg, from Greater Nashville.
Right here in Tennessee, United States.
That's right, Nashville, Tennessee. I had a question on the schedule overview, I guess. Maybe it'd be easier if I share my screen.
Hold on a second, I'll have to turn that on, or if you tell me what it is, maybe I have something that can show it as well. The overview.
So it's when you go in the schedule and click on your schedule.
Okay, hold on a second. All right, if you do want to share your screen, I've turned that on for you.
Okay. It says I can't share while other participant is sharing. Yes, you have to.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing, and then you should be able to now. Just a quick note for everyone. We do want to keep today's questions and answers focused on today's topic, which this is, of course. But in the case where you have something else specific you want to talk to us about, do remember that we do have the open office hours that we scheduled, that you should all have a list of links to the office hours as well, if you want some individual attention from our league services team. Okay, Robert, we see your screen. Go ahead and ask your question.
So the question is, when you have different divisions that have different number of teams, such as this division here has 4, and then you need to start skipping matches individually of the overall skip date, right? Skip date will affect all divisions. So when you dig in, the nice thing is now that it at least highlights something that you've changed. But still, I have no idea. And if there's numerous changes without clicking and going and looking in here, it's not a July 3rd match.
Yeah. Okay.
So more individuality on the individual divisions assigned to the date. This is actually July 10th match.
And the reason we keep the date on the left the same is it may not apply to all the matches in that round. Yeah. So we do show it at the match level, but that round is actually scheduled for July 3rd, so we keep that there. I know that in your particular situation, that is a bit of a mismatch, but that's the reason.
Right. So yeah, I don't want this schedule for July 3rd. That's kind of my point, is I would like to schedule for July 10th.
Okay.
Thankfully I can do it this way, but
how do you have any suggestions? Because I remember when we designed this, we really struggled with how do we, because this is just to understand, is this still match 7 of the season? Just to make sure I understand the date. I understand the date's not correct. Is this still match 7?
This is match 7 for C division. However, they will play it here. Yep, it is match 7 though.
Yeah. So that. So I'm just trying to think of how we could do this better. We'd have to obviously develop this. But
you could call match 7 a bye week, and then they play on match 8.
Right. So I'm just wondering if we set up a view that said match. Right now it's match date view. And if we gave you the option of looking at it from a match number view, right? I'm thinking of the left anchor, right? So when we think about that's all date driven. Obviously, that's what's driving all this. If we gave you the option to say, no, I want to change it to a match number view, would that solve that for you?
Yeah, exactly. Either that, or if each one had their individual date embedded within this,
Okay. We'll take a look at that. So that's actually a good suggestion, because sometimes it's easier after we go live with something a year or two later to figure out a solution to it. I remember at the time we couldn't figure this out. So let me take that on, and we'll give you some feedback on that.
Okay.
I have no idea how
since
difficult it would be, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah, understood. Just wanted to bring it up. Since I've got my
Yep.
screen on, can I knock out my other item I had to ask you guys about?
Sure, go ahead. We'll keep it
Okay.
brief if possible. We do have other people waiting to ask questions.
Yeah, it'll be quick. So the home away audit, which you can search by venue, is like, this is great. Something like this to be able to print out at the venue for the bar, the staff who do not use DartConnect, they don't
Yeah.
know how to get to our schedules, a one page. So if I go
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
venue, they need this. I usually screenshot this and send it to the bar
Yeah.
manager. They print it out and put it up.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah, no,
gold right here.
this has been asked before, and it just fell down the list. Just so I can summarize for everyone, what you would like to do is see a venue centric schedule as opposed to a team centric schedule. Do I have that correct?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Cool.
they can see how
Now,
many teams
that's
they've
a
got in there on a night.
Yeah, my venue likes to know, obviously, when sometimes the venues need extra staff, or at least they want to know not to schedule something else, and they want to know, how many teams, or if a team will even, if there'll be any darts being played that week. So that's a good reminder. Again, it can't commit to that, but that's a good reminder, and we'll look into that. For some reason, I don't think that one's that difficult, but that's easily said. Thank you for reminding us of that feature.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Robert. Our next question is from David Tillery, North Tampa, Florida. David, make sure you bring yourself off of mute.
Yes. Hi. It's good to see you guys. David, I'm really proud of what you've done since I've met you in Las Vegas those years ago. You've done a great job with DartConnect. And our league has been using it for a couple years now. I just got a couple quick questions. One regarding singles formats. If I have one player playing another player 3 games in a schedule for a night, and I want each point to count, not like best 2 out of 3. I got the message from Mark that I need to set up the schedule each game is individually, where when they're done with the first game, they have to put their names back in the system to play each other again and then do it again individually, just for the match to count singles, 1 game, 1 point, period. And I'm just confirming that.
I apologize. I'm a bit confused. I just want to make sure, and Mark is on the call. He might have to translate a little bit for me. I don't understand. Am I getting a point for winning a match, or for the number of sets I'm playing, or legs? I'm
It's
sorry.
in the set. If I've got 3 players playing another player singles, like say 401, and that player will play that person 3 times for singles, and each point counts per win, not by 2 out of 3. So I was told to make it work that way for custom match building, that I would need to program a different leg 3 times per event, per player, where each person, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just want to clarify. Is this a scheduling issue or a league point issue? I can address either one.
It's kind of both. It's kind of both, because I tried to do it before, and then it'll automatically, if somebody won 2 and the other one won 1 game, it would only give points to the player that won 2 out of 3, which I've been purposely programming it not to be that way, but it's still doing that. So
okay, so this is a league point issue, the way I'm understanding it, and that is something that's going to be in our next release, to allow players in the same set to be awarded points regardless of who won. That was a limitation of our point system.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually going to be addressed before September.
Great. But I can fix it after the match is over. I just go in DartConnect and fix it as a competition organizer. A couple quick other minor questions. since I'm kind of new to a lot of this, can a player use DartConnect on a tablet without being connected to the internet or using Wi-Fi? Just for fun,
Absolutely.
casual play.
A league player,
I've got a whole league going, but
right?
like if I want to do a casual play, we've got a big competition coming up in Orlando this weekend, and they're planning on using like 30 tablets. And I
Love it.
was told him that we're going to bring our own tablets, but that may have changed since then. But they're not having everybody go using internet or Wi-Fi. So can those tablets be used without Wi-Fi or
Right.
internet to do casual play for this big tournament?
Right. So just to make sure, you cannot run a connected tournament without Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Right. I mean, because the tablets have to communicate to the tournament. I mean,
Oh,
there's
they're
just no way to do that.
They're actually doing it on paper, but they're just doing the scoring just to keep score per tablet. You know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah.
just doing the rest of it's on
Yeah.
paper. They've been doing it
Well,
on paper
yeah.
for years,
Yeah.
and they didn't have a chance
Yeah.
to switch it over.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not using an official tournament, then everyone would have to have a personal membership to use it casually.
Yeah, that okay. But
Yeah.
if
So
say if I got a personal membership and I got a prestige account, which I'm going to get today,
yep.
I can use my tablets for
You can play home
scoring,
and away. You can plug in your names. You can do whatever you want.
right?
Yes.
Without
Okay.
even being connected to the internet, right?
Yeah,
Or
David,
Yes.
just remember you need to be logged into the scoring app. So as long as you're logged in, you're fine, but you need Wi-Fi to log in. So log in when
thank
you're on
you.
Wi-Fi.
Yes.
That's a key
And-
issue that
right.
I'm working on. And
Okay.
uh
Just do you have any? I'm sorry. Just to be, because we could talk offline. Do you have any scheduling questions? Otherwise, if we could take the rest of these
no, that's
offline.
it. The other one we'll do offline.
Okay.
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 Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right, we have a question from Tom R. Tom, I don't know your last name, but go ahead and bring yourself off mute. Let us know where you're calling from.
Yeah, Tom Remerspawn from Dorr, Michigan. I run the Dorr Dart League.
Okay.
And one of the things that the teams have brought up to me, we have it's kind of a small league. There's 14 teams on it. And normally we just play everybody twice. And at the end of the year, we figure out who wins. This year, they would like to do a little bit of talk about, they want to play everybody once and then do a division A-B. But with 14 teams, if I do A-B, that's 7 teams per division. And then so each one would have a bye. Team would have a bye. With the manual scheduling or the scheduling features, would I be able to go in and say the 2 teams from each division that have a bye, let them play? Does that make sense?
Yes. I mean, this sounds like you would use our insert a match feature. Let me see if I can go
Okay.
back.
And I could just pull the teams that have a bye for that week, and
Right.
I can have them play.
Do you see the
Great.
slide I have on
You got
screen?
it.
Right. This allows you to, when you insert a match, it's going to make every team in the league available.
Okay, good.
Doesn't matter what division. So you're in the division schedule for Division A, right? And you insert a match, is going to say, here's all the A teams, B teams, C teams, pick who you want. Right?
Okay,
And
great.
you just create any kind of match and insert it right into the schedule.
Cool, thank you.
Okay. All right. I believe Robert, you have another question?
Yes, I do. On the schedule, you talked about it briefly in your presentation, the mark schedule as final. I've been running DartConnect in the league. I don't know, probably since 2021 or so. It's burned me a couple times, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but something where I needed to roll back the entire schedule, which I didn't want to do for a small change. Can you just talk about what is the mark schedule as final, like I said, I haven't done it in years. I haven't checked that box. What does it do, and what does it prevent from happening? Changes after you mark it final.
David?
No, that's strictly information. Yep, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. That's strictly informational. What we have found is several times leagues have published a schedule, and then a team drops out or a team objects. This is a common one, objects to the division they're playing in, either for travel reasons or for ability reasons. And then the schedule gets changed. So even though the best effort was made to put out the schedule, now you've got a protesters or whatever. So that final is just a way to mark it as, to distinguish it a tentative schedule from a final schedule. It does not lock down or prevent you from doing anything. I mean, you can still roll if you mark it final, you can still roll back the schedule if you have to. It's just a communication tool.
Okay.
Is there something you would like to you prefer to see, or how? I'm still trying to understand. It sounds like you unintentionally rolled back a schedule that you didn't want to do.
No, so what I in the very beginning, I would mark them as final. That would tell me, like, when I've got all my edits, everything on the schedule is correct, I would mark it as final. And something, not a protest, but something along those lines happened where I needed to change something. And I recall I could not change. I don't recall exactly what it was, but I could not change without rolling back the schedule. Now, we had already started the league like season 1 or week 1, so I can't roll back anymore. So it was it was just an edit that I could not make. I'll have to look into it more, but since then it got me twice and I've never checked that again. I just leave it as published, and then I can make any edits. I can replace, anything I need to without having to roll back. I don't want to roll back once we get started in the season.
Yeah, right. No, rollback after the season started is absolutely the last, situation, obviously, because then you have to make a lot of manual adjustments. So, yeah, I guess we'd have to, if you can help us figure that out, we'll look at the one thing to remember, though, that the schedule has evolved, right? We've added more tools and features and obviously any software, there's no such thing as perfect software. So maybe there was a bug, although you said it happened twice, so that would be unusual. But if you can help us, okay, yeah. If you can help, we appreciate all the troubleshooting anybody can help us do, because we test extensively before we release something. But as you know, there's always what they call the cat on the keyboard, right? There's always something that could happen that we didn't test for. So if you have any insights, would you please contact us again and let us know?
Yeah, for sure. We've got
I'd like to
another local
investigate.
league here that also had the same issue, so I can touch base with him and get the reminder, and I'll let you know.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'd love to learn that. Thank you.
Okay, we have our next question from Bob Tuggle. Bob, if you want to bring yourself off mute and let us know where you're calling from.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, awesome. I'm down in the Gulf Coast of Mississippi with Southern Developmental Dart League, and this is our first season using it. So I did the manual schedule just because it was easier. I only had 16, so it was kind of easier for me just to throw it in there. But next season, we're looking at possibly doubling our number of teams. Ooh. And we do a draft, so most of our teams are equal in ability. And I was trying to see if we did it in 2 divisions. Is there a way to do cross-division play during the season?
Though the answer is yes. Cross-division play means many different things for different people. They do it very different ways. Of course, the easiest way is to just create your schedule and then insert cross-divisional, matches. I don't know, but it depends. Sometimes some leagues want those interdivision matches to be added to division standings. For some other leagues, they're not part of the standings. They're just part of an extra match to play. So some of that does change how you would implement this. But yes, we give you the flexibility to create interdivisional play. But we would need to know more specifics about what your rules are around that to figure out what the best way to do it is.
And is there a way for the scheduling tool to generate that, or I would have to manually do those?
If I can bring Mark, Mark, if you're on the call, and Rand, maybe you can share some of the experiences you had working with some leagues that have tried to do this.
Hi there. Yes, so when you add a round in, you can actually make, like Greg was saying earlier about, you can do any teams in your league. So you can make them interdivision that way in the add round section. So you can take two teams from two different divisions or anything like that and make a scheduled match out of it. And that'll be in the schedule as well. So they'll see it as an add round.
I think you may be asking though if you can somehow just click a button and have it include interdivision play in there. And
No,
right, we
no,
don't have a
no.
specific feature for that.
No, you have to create it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to create it. You have to create it manually. Sorry. Yep. Yes. No.
Okay. Yeah, that was more of my question. Do I have to manually add it, or is there or to just put it in there?
Right now, you need to manually
When
add
you,
it. Go ahead,
yeah.
David.
I would like to know a little bit. Yeah, I would just like when you get to that point, please reach out to us, or preferably maybe a month before you try this. And I'd like to just understand the details, because maybe that's something we could investigate. But we need fair warning, obviously, when you think about how you want to do it.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next question, we have Jeff Marinucci. Jeff.
Get on speakerphone. Craig tried to call me.
Sorry?
I think someone didn't put themselves back on mute. Jeff
Oh.
Marinucci, Philly area, PSL, Quaker City, all those fun things. Greg, I've been going back and forth with you and Mark. I don't know if you saw my last email about the boards and the venues, and because Mark pretty much had the same idea that I had. So I tried to detail it out a little bit better so you can talk to your schedule expert. I just was curious if you saw that.
I've been a little busy preparing for this meeting today, so I haven't been able to review that closely.
Right. So then I'll just wait till I hear back from you on that.
Okay. Do you want to explain your situation? Because some other people might be able to learn from this as well.
So I'll keep it a simple situation. I got venues that have multiple boards. We'll just say for this specific example, we'll just say a place has 2 boards and 4 teams. 2 teams are assigned to one board, 2 teams are assigned to another board as like their home board. So we always play on board 1, they always play on board 2. So is there a way to have those constraints in there to say that team A and B are on board 1 so that they're home and away, each week?
Alternate, yeah, they alternate between that. Yes.
Yes. And team C and D, whose home board is board 2,
Yep.
they're home and away, opposite weeks.
So just I'm trying to remember. Unfortunately, we did this like 2 or 3 years ago when we addressed this issue. The manual way of doing it is, of course, just make up a venue. What's the name of the venue? Sorry, just to keep it simple. What's the name of the venue?
Colonia.
Okay, Alonia. Yeah, Colonia. Just say Colonia A, Colonia B, right? Or Colonia 1, Colonia 2, even though it's the same venue, right? That way you think of them as separate venues with a single board. That solves it no matter what. But I thought we had solved this internally as well, because I remember this came up with our Minuteman League as well. So let me get back to you, but that is the fallback, and I assume that's maybe what you guys had come up with as a way to solve that.
That's what I brought up to Greg, and then Greg went to the schedulers, and they came back and said you probably really shouldn't do that. And then Mark said, no, I think that's the way we probably should do that. So I kind of detailed it back to Greg with, more specific, maybe it just was a lost in communication thing there.
Right. Yeah. Our tools are very flexible, right? So there's multiple ways to do things to get what you need. So, some of it is just trying to pin down what's the best right way to do it. Right. Is probably what we're batting back and forth.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a real
We'll
quick,
get back.
just-
We'll get back to you this week.
yeah, no problem.
Sorry.
I'm in no rush because we're doing our scheduling offline, and I'm just going to create all manual matches. But by the time we start next year, because we're phasing all of our teams in, by the time we get to next year, I'm going to need a solution because we plan to have everyone on by next year.
Okay.
And one quick other thing, like we're in the process of registration, and people are filling out paperwork with where they're playing and the team players. Is there any kind of solution within DartConnect to possibly do that online rather than having the paperwork and then doing all that?
It's on the list. That's all. That's all I'll say.
Okay, as long as it's being looked at, then I'm happy with that. Like I said, as long as that happens, that might be a good thing to do next time.
Have you ever used our online registration tool for tournaments?
I have not, but I want to
Okay.
try that out and like the check-in and all that, but just haven't really got there.
Yeah, if you ever experience that, you'll understand I mean, it's a very powerful tool, and we allow people to either register. They can at the same event they can register online or in person, right? So it's very flexible. So that's the kind of thing that we would leverage for league registrations at some point. Hopefully next year, we'll see.
Jeff, I'll just add to that, DartConnect, we're like a Star Trek company, right? We boldly go where no man has gone before. And we have not yet found the final frontier, and that includes league registration. But look at it, and maybe we'll get there.
Thanks.
Okay. I saw a hand raised before. Sue, I don't know if you meant to lower your hand or not, but if you do have a question, go ahead and come into the call. I don't see any other hands raised, but before we end, we'll give you all another chance to raise your hand if you do have a question you'd like to ask. Anybody?
Yeah, I got a question, Greg.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't realize my hand had dropped out.
Sue from Wales, England.
Pardon?
You're from Wales, England.
Greg, you're dead.
I can't. I apologize, Sue. That's all I can do. I'm so sorry.
Wales,
Let's
UK.
move on, and the beatings will begin after the call. Sorry, Sue.
Okay. Yeah, I got a question. When you were saying about you could do postpone games in the scheduling, what we had last year, if we do get a cancellation, it tends to be on the day. So what they were doing, it doesn't disappear if that match hasn't played, and they just click on the date they should have played it on. Is that still okay to be doing it like that?
Well, I mean, there's no problem with doing it that way. I mean, the date on a match doesn't mean you can't play it on a different date. The date is just a label. So it doesn't really matter. But if you want to be, buttoned up and tied down, you can change the actual date of the match, and then that date should update wherever they see that match listed.
Oh, so I could check, I don't know, say it was yesterday and I want to play it in 2 weeks' time. I just change the date and it will go in, yeah?
Yeah, you open up that individual match and change the date, and then that individual match is rescheduled.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, Jeff, I think you have one. We have time for one more.
Yeah, just a quick one. Now, I think I was talking to Mark about this yesterday, and we weren't really sure. So when you create the schedule and you can dump that into Outlook and you can get email notifications, it looked like if you weren't a Premier member, you can't get those email notifications for your schedules. Now, I guess that's a business decision on your end, but wouldn't it make more sense, since we're actually paying for DartConnect for the league? Wouldn't they essentially be a premier player during that session? Not necessarily with all the feet, but I would think that would be something good to get to the end users to probably help get more people to become premier. I don't know, just my 2 cents.
Okay, I'm going to let David answer this question. David, you're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Little background noise here. Yeah, that's so obviously we provide the public schedule, the printed schedule. The schedule is personalized in my DartConnect, and so if the individual players want the the calendar integration and all that, then they can absolutely do that. And of course, it comes with all the other benefits. So we think that's a pretty fair. The league's paying for the league level services, and then on a higher level, a white glove treatment, if you will, then they can obviously and at $2 a month. I don't think that breaks anybody's bank, but of course, people spend much more than that at the bar every night. So, but
Nope,
appreciate the feedback.
I just want to make
Yep.
sure that I understand it because, like I said, we're getting a lot of new players and teams in. And we're rolling it out. The further down we are, there's probably less people that have a premium account. So I just want to make sure that I don't tell them that they can get email notifications if they can't. So that's all.
Yeah,
I mean, it's maybe not known that well, but if you create an account with us, a free account, right, and then you decide you want to, you immediately have access to a free trial or a premium trial, so they can try it for 2 weeks, and if they don't like it, then they don't have to pay for the remainder. Right, so we do have a way for them to try out whether or not a premium membership is the right thing for them or not, if they think it's worth it.
Okay, that's useful. Thanks.
All right, that brings us to the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for spending your part of your day with us today. Hopefully this was of value for all of you, whether you're using the schedule or not using the schedule yet. Like I said, it's one of our best and most popular features. Highly encourage you to look into it if you're not using it yet. Our last session is our meeting session series is next week, next Wednesday on the 28th of August, same time. And we'll be talking about the new Express player lineup feature. So we think that's going to be a very popular session next week. Make sure you don't miss it. You'll all get a follow-up email from me probably later today, as long as the recording generates properly. And I have the time to put that in and send that out to everybody. So you'll be hearing from us again. We appreciate your time. We hope you have a great rest of your week and weekend. And again, also don't forget we have the open office hours that you should have information on as part of our follow-up as well, if you want to get some more individual time and attention with the league services team, which is including me and Mark Lehman, who also chimed in on the call earlier today. So again, thank you very much for your time. Please join us again next week and have a great rest of your week. Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.